Welcome, everybody, to Two Goalies, One Mic, episode 149, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room. Over 300 beers to choose from at all 8 locations. Open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. and later. Live entertainment, music, and trivia at all 8 locations. And one of Western New York's only kid and dog-friendly bars. And let's not forget Buffalo Logo Apparel, one of the greatest places to get all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs, whether it's your shirts, now available at Buffalo Logo, your hats, now available at Buffalo Logo, or your hoodies. Make sure you get over to at Buffalo Logo Co. at Instagram and Twitter, at Fatty Beer on Instagram and Twitter as well. I am Duane, your host, riding solo right now. Huge news in Sabres land today, coming very unexpectedly. And it's polarizing, right? It's polarizing, and I think the biggest reason why people are upset about this trade is because Casey Mittelstadt has been a frustrating player up until the past 2 seasons. It was a top 10 pick. So much like promise right from the jump. We saw him in the World Juniors right here in Buffalo. A lot of a fun player to watch at Minnesota growing up, and just all the ceiling for this kid, his hands, the shot, it was ridiculous. Smart, IQ through the roof. But the one biggest issue for Casey Mittelstadt from the get-go was always just his size. He wasn't like big enough or ready for the NHL at that point. He needed to spend a few years in Rochester, right? Sabres made him go pro or had him go pro way too early. He should have been in Rochester. But I think us as Sabres fans, we had a lot, there was a big need, put butts in seats. He was an exciting player to watch. There was so much hype around him. They brought him to Buffalo way too early. But over the last 2 years, Casey Mittelstadt, and here's where the frustration comes from with this trade today. Over the last 2 years, he's finally found his identity. He put on the size. Like, he's their best 5-on-5 scorer. He's their top scorer this season because of all the regression from guys like Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins and Alex Tuck. Like, he's the one guy that hasn't regressed next to Duane. And you look at him at face value, and you're just like, man, that is the guy we picked. It took a while, but we're here, right? And that, I think, is where so much of the frustration from Sabres fans comes from, myself included. I wanted them to sign Casey Mittelstadt. I really did. I think that you could be looking at a potential Sam Reinhart situation where this guy might go off and, score 50 goals in a couple years. Who knows? He has unbelievable playmaking ability. Both him and Reinhart are two different players. Like, Mittelstadt doesn't go to the net the way Reinhart does, and he doesn't score the same types of goals that Reinhart does. But, I think that was the worry about with Casey, is that you could be looking at another Sam Reinhart situation. And I don't blame you guys. I really don't. It is worrisome because we've seen, and not to mention the Sabres curse. We saw O'Reilly get traded that same year, wins a Stanley Cup. Trade Eichel the very next year, wins a Stanley Cup. Trade Reinhart next year, he's in the Stanley Cup final. You hope that the curse doesn't continue. But listen, we are so deep down the middle. It's insanity. We still, even with the exit of Casey Mittelstadt, we don't have room. Like, where do we put him? And not Casey, but like we still don't have room for some of these prospects that are ready to come into the play. They're all centers. Yuri Kulik, even though he's played on the wing a little bit this year, he is a center. Savoy is a center. Rosen, center. Ostlund, center. Those 4 guys that play up the middle, you have to find space for. And even with this trade of Mittelstadt today, you're probably shipping still one of those guys out, right? Like, I don't know. I get it. Maybe we don't know all the underlying details. Like maybe he wanted more money than Dylan Cousins and Tage Thompson. That is a possibility. I mean, the Sabres have so much money to spend. They're damn near, I'm not sure where they are in comparison to the cap floor, but maybe that was part of the reason. And we also remember he wasn't a Kevin Adams guy. Casey Mittelstadt was not drafted by Kevin Adams. Whether you like that or not, whether you want to blame Kevin Adams for that, he wasn't a Kevin Adams guy. And again, some of the guys he has signed aren't either. But I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of faith and a lot of hope and expectation for Peyton Krebs, because if there's any guy who you look at now with the expectation level is going to go up, is Peyton Krebs, right? For the last month, actually all season, we've been complaining about how he's the most underutilized guy on this team. You're not giving this guy a chance. Like, he's a playmaker. He has scoring ability. You watch him on the ice. He plays fearless. There's so much stuff to like about Peyton Krebs, and now he gets the opportunity. Now we finally get to see Peyton Krebs front and center in that Casey Mittelstadt role and see what he does with it. He was a big part. You can call Alex Tuch the main piece of the Jack Eichel deal, but Peyton Krebs, like that was Vegas's number one prospect. That was their number one guy. So front and center, Peyton Krebs, let's see what you got, because you got big shoes to fill. And just hope that it doesn't take you as long as it took Casey to fill those shoes. And now we get to Bowen Byram. I know a lot of Sabres fans, they question the health, the concussion issues. They question, another left-handed defenseman. I think that they're probably going to have him play with Owen Power, because you don't trade Casey Mittelstadt for Bowen Byram and then Byram not playing your top four defenseman. There's just no way. He is going to be a top four guy next year. My guess is maybe they have Owen Power play the opposite side. That's my guess. They'll probably fiddle around with that for the rest of the season. He has a very high ceiling. When Colorado won the Cup a few years ago in the Stanley Cup Finals, no player on either team played more minutes 5-on-5 than Bowen Byram. Bo Byram. I'm gonna call Bo because I like Bo better. And I think was it Colorado outshot in 5-on-5 play. I think Colorado outshot in that series. Like, they outshot Tampa like 70 something to like 45 or something ridiculous like that. So there's a lot I like about Bowen Byram, and I'm going to be completely transparent. On one side, I wanted to re-sign Casey Mittelstadt. I wanted him to be here long term. I wanted him to be part of the solution. But I love Bo Byram. Love him. Some people he's been hurt. He hasn't, really reached that potential. He's still very young. He's cost controlled too, which is another big thing. I think for Kevin Adams, maybe they just, he's on the cheaper side. Again, not that we have issues with the cap, or we don't at all. He is everything that this team needs on their blue line. This guy is fearless. What are some of the things we've been complaining about all season long, dating back to last season, when it comes to defensemen, the way we play in our end, our defensemen? They're soft in front of our net. They are. The puck watching. It's a big reason in the beginning of the season, outside of obviously the regression in scoring, that this team struggled so much, because how often, and every single defenseman on that roster was guilty of it, including Duane, puck watching, not playing physical, not taking their man. For all intents and purposes, people would say, including myself, that I think Owen Power, really had that sophomore slump year in terms of his defensive play. And Bowen Byram has a little bit, and I'm not comparing these two guys saying, oh, this is who he is. He has a little bit of Chris Pronger in him when he plays in front of the net below those dots. And I posted a video within the last half hour from my own personal account about what I like about Bowen Byram. The guy is fearless. He fears nobody in front of the net in the defensive zone. Doesn't give a shit. And what I love about him, and this is what not a single defenseman does in front of our net, he is not afraid to take his stick like this and give you a few cross checks in front of the net. hack at you. He makes you. Teams aren't afraid to stand in front of our goaltender right now because they don't have to deal with that. Nobody makes them think twice. And I went through the rabbit hole today after that trade was made of highlights and clips of Bowen Byram and what is there to like about him. And that is one of the things that stuck out with me. There's other things too, but that for me personally, that's the one thing defensively this team is missing is that aspect. You are going to pay for every second you stand in front of our goaltender when Bowen Byram is out there on the ice. It's just a fact. There's a scuffle he got into a couple of seasons ago with Jordan Greenway. Jordan Greenway knows who Bowen Byram is. I'm sure, hopefully some of the media ask Greenway about him. Maybe Mike Harrington will get to that. Somebody, because there is a clip out there where him and Greenway went at it. They didn't fight, but Byram was cross-checking him, giving him the business in front of the net. And Greenway lost it, and they both took penalties, coincidental roughing minors. There's the fight he had with Matt Boldy in Minnesota. Same thing. Boldy, it was after a save was made. Boldy was trying to cut back to that, and he just gives him a quick cross check, knocks him on his ass. Boldy pops right back up, and they both drop the gloves. I love this about Bowen Byram because this team doesn't have that at all, remotely. And they need that. They desperately, desperately need that on this team. And I hope it rubs off on the rest of these players. And not to mention, he brings a Stanley Cup ring to the room. Because after Eric Johnson leaves, they got no rings in that room. So I think that's also important too. Even at such a young age, he has a ring. He knows what it takes to win a Stanley Cup, to go the distance. And I think and I hope that type of insight is going to rub off on this very young roster. So I love this deal in terms of what we're getting in return. Do I think Kevin Adams should have gotten more for our top point producing player, for our best 5-on-5 player, for a player whoever he's going to, that team still has control over his rights because he's only going to be an RFA? Yes, I think he could have gotten more. But I am super happy that we got a guy like Bowen Byram because defensively, man, he gives us a type, an aspect on that blue line, a characteristic on that blue line, identity on that blue line that no defenseman on this team currently has. And I think that's incredibly important because it is something that they have lacked. And that's just, I haven't gotten some of the even better parts of him. This guy can motor. He can absolutely motor up the ice. Immaculate skater. Fantastic skater. And I know it's like, oh, Duane, we have those guys. We have Owen Power. We have Rasmus Dahlin. We have Ryan Johnson. I'm telling you, yeah, that's great. But going back to what I said before this, they don't have that aspect. They don't play with that type of. Yeah, sure, Dahlin does sometimes, but it's not as big of a part of Dahlin's game as it is Bowen Byram. I think Bowen Byram can be a very good not stay-at-home defenseman, but good defensive defenseman who has a ton of offensive upside. He moves the puck up ice. Now, granted, you're looking at like a highlight reel, so you're looking at all the good parts of it. But every highlight reel that I saw of Bowen Byram today, him moving up ice, joining the rush. The guy goes to the net. Not afraid to go to the net. Like, one of the things I thought of when watching him, it made me think of Owen Power his last 2 years at Michigan. Because Power spent a lot of time in front of opposing goaltenders' nets as a defenseman. Not saying that Byram does that as much, but he's not afraid to get to that area of the ice below the dots, to join the rush and take a chance. I think that's something else that Buffalo desperately needs in terms of a two-way defenseman. Because he may not offer you as much offensive upside as Dahlin and Power, but the guy can motor, he can get up the ice, he can move the puck, and he's got a great shot and good hands, fantastic hands. I saw another reel too. Like I was curious about like, well, how is he under pressure? You know, exiting the zone. There's legitimately a video of his zone exits. He is so calm and poised with the puck. Under pressure, he is fine. He doesn't make stupid mistakes when you put a guy right on him when they're forechecking hard. He makes smart plays. It was like a minute-long video or whatever it was, but it was like 10 examples of him just moving the puck out of the ice with poise and calmness. Keep it simple, stupid, right? The KISS method. He's not afraid to keep it simple. He's not going to, he wasn't forcing passes to dangerous areas. Again, all highlight reels are consisting of the best parts of a player's game. But what I saw, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So do I hate that we're losing a guy like Casey Mittelstadt, who finally came into his own, found his identity on this team, and, all the frustration that we've dealt with as Sabres fans with Casey Mittelstadt, because 2 years ago, everybody wanted him gone, myself included, because I didn't like his work ethic away from the ice, is not putting on the size he needed to play at this level. It all finally came full circle, and he put on that size, and he wasn't easy to knock off the puck anymore. And I just like many of you, I was like, man, we need this guy here long term. But unfortunately, that's not the case. I don't know the insights or the underlying details of why Kevin had decided to not bring back Casey Mittelstadt, because Casey made it very known that he wanted to stay. Maybe he wanted like $8 million more a year. Who knows? It's a very good possibility. There's a possibility he could get that in Colorado. Who knows? I'm not sure their cap situation. Again, he's very cost controlled, but I think that he's going to go to a much better team in Colorado. He's going to have a chance to win the cup and continue to prove that Buffalo curse true for players that are traded away from Buffalo. I think he's going to fit in very nice onto that team, and he's going to get the taste of playoffs for the first time. So I'm happy for Casey. I wish we would have kept him, but I'm also happy with the defenseman we got in turn, because everything I've seen from this guy, and I know the issues with the concussions, has he lived up to his own potential yet? No, but neither did Casey Mittelstadt. It took him how long to reach that potential and put our frustrations at ease? Took a long, long, long time. So I'm willing to give Bowen Byram, the time he needs to flourish and become that same defenseman that literally was fantastic and was a big reason why Colorado was so dominant in the playoffs defensively. 5-on-5, there was no better, one of the best defensemen that Colorado had, and that's a team that has Cale Makar on it. So for me, sad to see Casey go, but I am extremely excited about Bowen Byram and to see what this brings to our blue line, because again, this guy has so much grit and so much edge. And like I said before, I'm not saying he's Chris Pronger, but he's got a little bit of Chris Pronger in him in front of his own goaltender. Nobody is going to score an easy goal when he's out on the ice. He's not going to puck watch like we've seen so many of our defensemen do over the last 2 years. He is going to make you earn and hurt. Earn every goal that you score while he's out there. If it happens below the dots, he's going to make you earn it. He's going to make you earn it. And you're going to know you're going to want to know when Bowen Byram is out there when you park in front of that, because nobody is afraid to go to the front of the Sabres net right now, because there's no chance of getting hurt. There's no chance of taking a cross check or a hack to the back of the shins or to the ankles. Nothing. Not the case with Bowen Byram. He is not going to allow you to have anything easy in front of his own goaltender. And he's going to stand up for his teammates, which I've seen so many times from what I've looked into. He's going to clear the front of the net. He fights multiple fights. So I like what this adds to our blue line. Sabres are going to be taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is a night games I always live for. You all know that here momentarily. So I'm going to let you guys go. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on this trade. Again, I wish we could have gotten more, because I think Casey Mittelstadt was worth more, but I am extremely happy with the defenseman we got in return. I'll hang up and listen, guys. I'll see you after the game. Go Sabres, blow Leafs, blow. And remember, this has been brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western York's Premier Market and Tap Room, and Buffalo Go Apparel, one of the best places to get all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs, including our merchandise now. They carry our merchandise now exclusively. So I'll hang up and listen, guys. Go Sabres. Actually, there's a few comments here. I'll bring it in real quick. Duane, I love the trade. This is amazing. He is speedy. We need speed. Mittelstadt signs for 6 to 7 million gets us the same product next year. From Pablo Barroso. Awful trade, in my opinion. As I said on my call to Show Up and Bulldog, you could have gotten more in the offseason. Another left-handed defenseman who isn't tough for our best forward this season. You're wrong about his toughness. Go look. Go watch. That kid is tough. He is grit and he is snarl. I disagree with that. You can say I'm wrong. Yeah, Big Fungus. Agree with it. You are wrong. Are we going to ask BB to play more than 20 minutes a night? Are we asking him to, or Bowen Byram play more? Are we asking him to play the right side? Makes no sense at all. There's no urgency here at all to do this now. Byram is an instant upgrade over everyone not named Darlene Power. Again, I agree. I agree with Big Fungus. He's another soft left-handed. He is not soft, Pablo. I promise you. Go watch his video. Go watch it. Go watch the video I just posted on Twitter, or go watch it. This kid is not soft. He is going to make you hurt every moment you are standing in front of our goaltender. He is the opposite of soft, man. I couldn't disagree with you more, Pablo. But again, sorry. Last time. I'll hang up and listen, guys. Go Sabres. Blow Leafs, blow. I'll talk to you guys after the game for the post game. See you then.